issue. So let's jump to the next thing. It's the Little Mermaid. We know that they did a Little Mermaid remake, and they cast Ariel as a black woman, and it's just been all over the news that people not watching it because of that. And the biggest decline of the Little Mermaid was in Asian countries. And people feel that a lot of Asians aren't necessarily keen on black lead actors and actresses. Okay, Prackett. I'm gonna let you speak for all the Asians in the world. What's up, man? Why did the Little Mermaid do so bad in Asia?
What's wrong with my people out there in Asia?
Man, what's going on? We want to know.
Put a disclaimer out first.
Okay, all right. So if the question really becomes, are Asians in concerning the Little Mermaid being black, are they being racist?
Yes.
That's the real question, right?
That's the real question.
Okay. I want Marcus for you to define to me what the word racist or racism means. What's the definition of racist? A racist person, or racist, or racism?
Okay, I pretty much it just means that you're judging someone not for what their accomplishments or abilities, but pretty much strictly on their skin color.
Okay, yeah. So I see it as that, right? So I find that Asian people, for the lack of a better word, they're kind of racist more towards each other than anybody else. Okay? And if you say that it's because the definition of what you just said, well, they all look the same. We have the same skin color and everything else, so it can't be racism based on the definition of racism, right? So what is it then? What is it then? Why is it that Thai people, tend to think that they're better than anybody else on a certain culture? Japanese started 2 daggone world wars, right? Because they thought they were better than anybody else. Korean, they're to the point where they for the lack of a word, racist against the North Korean. And they were Koreans. Now they don't like each other. Vietnam, South Vietnam, North Vietnam, right? Laos, Cambodia, Burma, and all that stuff. All of those stuff all now have borders and everything else, and then they sometimes hate each other in certain things. Mm-hmm. And so I think that it's not racism. I think it's more culture. So let's go back to Little Mermaid. Okay? How long has Little Mermaid been around?
I don't know. Maybe 20-some years.
1945 or something like that? That's when the origin of the Little Mermaid, when it first came out?
I have no
Let's see
idea.
See if we can Google that. Somebody can check that. Well, however long it is, it's been a long time, okay? Mm-hmm. I have a 6-year-old daughter, right? We go to McDonald's. We get a Happy Meal. And right now, it's the Little Mermaid toys. And she gets a Little Mermaid. She goes, Dad, did they mess up? Did they make a mistake? Why is Ariel hair black? Little Mermaid's not black. Mm-hmm. She's not racist. She's saying, I'm used to seeing Little Mermaid being white, redheaded mermaid. That was ingrained in her culture as she was growing up. So now it's something different and change, right? Mm-hmm. So I tell her, I said, sweetheart, Little Mermaid is a fantasy, fictitious character, a cartoon. It can be anybody. It can be any color. Because if Little Mermaid is from the sea, and the sea can be big, right? The world is covered with 70% of water and ocean, right? So, yeah, if Little Mermaid is from Malibu, California, she could be blonde, redhead. If she's from Ireland, she could be redhead, right? But if she's from Madagascar, she could be Halle Berry, right? So it could be from different part of the world. So, from from an imagination standpoint, if we are creating imagination like this, it can be from anywhere. Now, let's go back to why Asian people were not accepting of things. So why didn't it make it that big of a deal in Asia where they make as much money as what other release of other Disney before? It could be because they're not used to that cultural change. They haven't adapted to that cultural change that America is doing for black and whites and everything else. Because you know why? It's still only Asian people in Asia. We don't have black people in Asia. We don't have white people in Asia as abundant as we do here in the United States. So it's not because they're racist. It's just because they haven't adjusted to change in a cartoon. And everybody's going to make a big old thing about saying that they're racist.
Okay. Well,
that's my answer to that.
Well, I have something to add to that. And this is off of Little Mermaid. If they would have cast, when they redid Aladdin, and cast Aladdin to be a black guy or a white guy, other than a Middle Eastern guy from Egypt, it would have been the same, and everybody else would have been like, why the hell is there a white guy playing Aladdin, or why is a black guy playing Aladdin? You know what I mean? People were still tripping that Will Smith was the genie, but he wasn't made out. It wasn't.
Genie was blue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So there wasn't such a culture shock with that, opposed to what there is with the Little Mermaid. And I think people just nowadays it's like Me Too, and everybody has their feeling and an opinion about everything, and everybody has a right to say something. But I think sometimes people go a little bit overboard with the most pettiest, dumbest shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I agree with that. So